And we're live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Bigfoot Odyssey's Researchers Report. We have a great show for you tonight. With me, as always, producer and co-host of the report, Miss Daniela Iolo. How are you, Daniela?
I'm good, thank you.
And
Looking
coming to
forward to.
us, I know,
Sorry.
right? Coming to us
Yeah.
all the way from East Kentucky. Man that needs a little introduction. Creator of WOODBOOGER Farm on YouTube, Mr. Rick Wells. Welcome, Rick.
Howdy.
Howdy, good to have you here.
Good
Well,
to be here.
before we get started, we'll remind everybody in the chat, please keep it clean for us. We do have the best moderators on YouTube, and we don't want them timing anybody out. So just keep it clean for us. No arguing back and forth, and no cussing. That's all. Anything else is all right. We'll probably do questions, a little Q&A with Rick a little bit later. So if you'll save your questions and put those all in caps for us for a little bit later on in the show. But for right now, we're gonna get started with a little bit of information from Rick. Now, Rick, I've been there to your place, and I've spoken to you face to face, and you're not one of those that really likes to call everything Bigfoot. You tend to want to debunk everything as much as possible, and if there's absolutely no other explanation, then you'll start going the Bigfoot route. Um, that's pretty rare in this. Unfortunately, a lot of people go through the woods with their camera and point, and they're calling every stick and tree break Bigfoot. Um, what got you interested in this, and what really made you aware that you possibly had this these phenomenon going on around your place there?
Yeah, I mean, basically, I do is I try to debunk stuff that happens here or try to find some sort of supporting evidence because I want to know. I want to know if what was going on was Bigfoot. Like if I find a track or like if I get something on video or find, I want to look to see if I can find a track there or hair or whatever it is. I mean, I want supportive evidence to prove to myself, most of all, what was making the noise. But what got it started here was I'm not really sure if it was the logging, which that's what I'm leaning towards. We had logging done up here, or possibly the dog food. But whenever it started happening here, I mean, I had no idea what was going on. I wasn't into Bigfoot. Bigfoot was not on my radar. And stuff started happening, like rocks would hit the roof, and the outhouse would get slapped, my house would get slapped. And I had no clue. I mean, for like a year, I went no clue what was going on, and didn't have a computer, didn't have a phone or anything. And I would sit out here and read books, play with my dogs or whatever. And I had a spotlight, and I would shine the light down there right after it happened. Never would see anything. And I mean, this went on for a long time. And one night, one of them screamed up here on the hill. I mean, it just let out a ear-piercing scream like, "Rah!" And he went, "Ooh, ooh." That didn't sound like an owl at all. And that kind of got me curious. And I walked up there and found a track. It's probably one of the best tracks I've ever found. It was an old rotten log. But I mean, it was a human-shaped track. And even then, I was trying to figure, well, was that a cat that had double stepped or triple stepped or a bear? Which, that's I was trying to reason what was going on. Then I started noticing the dog food missing and stuff like that. And I kind of poked around at work on the computer, looking around to see what made these noises and stuff, and saw some Bigfoot videos, and then started looking into it from that angle.
Cool. I know you've collected some evidence. I know you got Miss Pam there with you. Some of the evidence that I had seen from the night. You got the handprints on the side of the camper window, and they were kind of small, weren't they?
Oh yeah, they were tiny. They were 2 inches long. 2-3 inches long. I don't know. I've got that picture with the measurements of them. They might have been up to 4 inches long. And maybe something like that.
We had them in the documentary that we did on your place there, and we got Jay Ward's recollection of what happened that night, but I got yours. I just didn't show it to everybody else. Can you give us a little summary of what happened that night? I know there was a lot of action going on there.
Yeah, we had heard a lot of vocalizations and stuff, and they stayed down there in the camper. Uh, Basically, we knew it was Bigfoot. Pam actually was that night that you saw the ones up on the hill? That was the last night. That was the last night. Okay, well, the next morning we came up and noticed there was prints on Jay's pull along. It's not a camper, what the cargo hauler, whatever you call them. And we got to looking on the windows on Pam and them's RV, and that one window is what, 7 foot up, and it had the 2 small prints on it, and then it kind of looked like a facial print, like a half a facial print on the camper, like something was looking in, and there were tracks on the ground, but little dummy here had done walk through them all and couldn't really make out a good track. I guess a few of us walked through them all, but yeah, we found prints on everything, and just I think we had rocks thrown that weekend. Yeah, Pam actually saw one looking in the window of the RV.
Well, I know you got some. Sorry, I know you got some pretty epic evidence here. Just the other night, it's the FLIR, and if anybody that hasn't seen it, you can. We're going to show a little clip of it here. But if you haven't seen it, you can go to WOODBOOGER Farm YouTube channel and see the whole 45 minutes of this this thing that Rick got on FLIR. To me, it's just absolutely incredible. This is not going to show the rock throwing, but it is going to show the creature itself. You have that, Daniela?
Yeah, look, I just think there's a bit of an issue going on in the chat. You just want to have a look at this because I don't think it's a time and place for.
Yeah, we're not even going to address it.
Right. Okay. Just as long as you're aware.
Yep.
Hang on a second.
Are you playing it?
Yeah, doing it now.
Okay.
How far away is this, Rick?
That's probably, well, it's a steep hill that goes up right there, and then it flattens out. And it's I was standing on this side of the creek, and I'm guessing about 20 yards, maybe a little bit more.
I see you. Hello.
And there's another dark figure beside of it, but I'm not sure if that's part of a rock or where the sun had hit something. But that one's definitely peeking up and down.
Oh yeah.
And I kept having rocks hit at my feet.
Are you a paper?
I mean, this is just 2 minutes, but you've got, over 40 minutes, you said, of this going on.
I watched the whole 45 minutes of this and this. Oh, look, watch this right here. This is just, my God.
Is that who I think it is?
Look how big it is.
I know. That's just, and I know you were trying to decide whether it was Bailey.
Yeah.
Well, I've been there.
On the pool.
Yeah, if Bailey is awake and aware and you call her, she's coming to you.
There's no way she would do that.
Yeah, that's not Bailey peeking her head up over that. That's just it's wow, as far as I'm concerned.
Baby girl.
Well, Bailey's not shaped like that, and I've never seen Bailey throw a rock. I'm not saying she can't because she's pretty good at different things, but I've never seen her throw a rock. But while that was going on, I had one in behind me, and he was making vocalizations. Had another one up there towards the barn, throwing rocks and hitting the barn, and then another one down out this way, outside the holler. But I kept trying to focus that FLIR on it, and I messed up. I know I messed up, and people let me know I messed up in the comments too. But it never crossed my mind to hit the record button on the FLIR. What I was doing was holding my phone, the FLIR up in the phone, and filming it live. And it never crossed my mind. Out of 45 minutes, never crossed my mind to hit the record button on the FLIR. I could have got better FLIR video.
You don't think at the time, though, do you? I guess it's just one of those moments, and
No, it's very exciting.
yeah. I guess with a lot of these encounters, people aren't thinking straight. That's why we're not always getting what we think. People go, why didn't you take a photo? Why didn't you walk closer? Why didn't you? Well, unless you're there at the time, I don't think anyone knows what they're going to do. So,
Right. Well, there wasn't. I tried to walk closer to it to get different angles on it during the whole film. And I started off, I seen it from the porch here, and I walked over closer to it, to the creek, and that's whenever the rocks were hitting, and the other one, the vocalizations joined in. And I focused on it, and I tried to get different angles from it. I even set the camera down and walked over with the FLIR trying to find it, but that was the best angle. I just happened to be in the best angle. And I think what it was doing was laying up on that flat on its belly, and then it kind of was maybe trying to sneak away or whatever. But it always just suddenly, I mean, it's always unexpected. I mean, you might hear a couple of owl mimics or some other, like a rock quack or something like that, and you can kind of get ready for it. But most of the time, it's just out of the blue. And just like it starts, it stops, and they're gone. They don't do anything else.
how many do you think come around? Have you got any idea? Or
A couple years ago, all in 1 year, I started measuring the tracks, and I measured 6 or 7 different size footprints all in 1 year. So I figured that's what I had in the family group. So I'm thinking anywhere from 6 to 8 in the family group, and I don't think I've ever found the track to the alpha male.
okay. So do you think they kind of, is there periods of time where there's nothing and then it starts back up again? Do you think they're moving around, or they're there all the time?
No, I think they have to move around. They're not here all the time. And it used to be, it was up like they would come around and stick around for like 3 or 4, sometimes 5 days at a time, and then they would be gone for 3 weeks. I mean, you can almost mark it on the calendar. And I got to follow them around, hiking through the mountains and stuff, and I would go to where I knew that they was at last and follow out the trails and look for the fresh indications that they had been in the area, and follow them around. But it seemed like every 3 weeks they would be back here and messing with me. But I think if they stayed in one area, then they would, eat up all the game and all the food in the area, or at least scare all the game off, because they have to have I would assume that they'd have to have a lot of calories to survive.
Well, you think so as well, and the descriptions of all the muscle, the refined muscle, now they must be eating a heck of a lot of protein and stuff to maintain that. I think, I don't know. What else do you think they're eating? Berries, stuff like that? Do you know anything else?
Yeah, right now, I don't think they're moving around as much, because they've been here right in this area for well over a week now. And there's a lot of acorns out right now, a lot of different nuts. There's mushrooms and stuff out right now, plus all the game. So I think they pretty much just move whenever they need to move to get something to eat.
Yeah. And you're kind of desensitized a little bit to it, are you? Did you think, when you say before you're not afraid, but not that you're not afraid, but you don't think they're gonna, you can't trust them, but you don't think they're actually going to cause you any harm?
I think if they wanted to hurt me, they could have done it any time during my life being down here, because I used to go up and sleep in these rock cliffs before I'd go hunting and go camping all the time. And I was, back then we didn't have the video games. I think Atari or something had come out, but I've never been into video games. And that's how, us country boys do it. We stay out in the hills. So I think they could have had me at any time. Yeah. But I don't think they're out to hurt me, but I don't trust them. I don't trust them any more than I would any wild critter, like a bear or a cougar or anything like that. I'm respectful.
They're obviously interested in you.
Yeah,
they're obviously interested in you. I had a little bit of internet problem there. It's I've got a booster on the way, so hopefully I can work all that out. But before I was taken away, I saw a question in here, and this there was a question from, I think it was Brent from Paranormal Portal, about how big you think that creature was in the video. And I know that you plan on doing like a daytime recreation. Or are you going to do a FLIR recreation where you go up there and somebody films you to get a size comparison? That is good. That is coming, right?
Yeah, we're gonna try to do that tomorrow. I'm down. I'm here by myself most of the time, but like I said, we just got back from the Red River Gorge today, and we'll be staying out here and doing a little bit of boogering around here for the next couple of days. And tomorrow, I'm going to walk up there and have Pam film me with the FLIR and with the the phone also. So I'll have two different angles. And it's going to be different because that night it was really, really hot out, and the sun, it had been in the 90s that day. So there was a lot of heat retained in the trees and stuff. So I'm sure it's going to look different on the FLIR. And plus, some of the leaves are off the trees now, too, because it went from summer to winter here overnight. It's, like I said, it's supposed to get down to 36, 37 degrees tonight. It's already pretty chilly.
Yeah, it's getting cold everywhere at the moment. Let's talk about the structures, because I know I know a lot of people will be interested in the talk about structures and signs. I remember watching in the documentary, you'd said that there was an X put up and you decided not to, you take that as a sign to not go any further. I think you're getting nutsy out there, yeah?
Yeah, I'm giving him a walnut.
Yeah, I think a few people might want to see nutsy.
He's starting to get hungry. It's cold out. He don't like the cold. Like last night at camp, we were sitting out there and he got away from us. He's got his walnut. He's going back in the shirt. It's cold. But he got away, and I figured after it quieting down, I stayed outside in my recliner with the blanket on me. And I figured he might come back, either that or he'd just go back to being a wild squirrel. So this morning I woke up and he was back underneath the blanket with me. But he's just now getting big enough to where he can jump around, and he's just, man, he goes 100 miles an hour all the time, and it's starting to get winged off the milk. But yeah, he's a pretty good little fella. A cat's got a hold of him, and while I was working on a tractor, I looked down the creek, next to the creek, and the cats had him. And I wasn't sure what it was. I thought they had a frog or something at first. And I went down and got a closer look, and I seen it was a flying squirrel, so I went down there and got him. But luckily, I think they had just got a hold of him and hadn't injured him. They, he wasn't bleeding or anything, or it doesn't appear anything was broke. So he's a wild little feller.
Let's go back to the sign, the structures and the crosses. Do you think that, where is that? Is that area like a territorial, do you think, where they put that X up with the other, did you say it was like a Y stick, a Y shape?
Yeah, that's what I had put a climbing tree stand up in a tree and came back to find that X next to it, like about a week later. And I mean, I don't know what they're for, but it kind of, I don't know if it's marking that, that, hey, there's you here, because it was, I don't know what, about 15 yards back from the tree stand. And there's, what I know now is that they got, like, I call it a corral, because the deer go up in there and they bed a lot, and it looks just like a maze, like a corral. And they've got little things built up with sticks leaned up against stuff. And I think they hide behind to hunt deer and run deer different ways. But I mean, the structures, they're interesting, and I think I think there has to be some sort of practical use to them. There's some that they'll bend trees over and like build like a blind, something to get him behind, and I call those kill boxes. And I found deer kills in them before, and tracks. I even found deer tracks with Bigfoot tracks that you could tell both of them had been running. And then I found one of the blind areas, and a fresh rock laying on the ground, and deer hair and blood on a tree, and then on up I found the hair and some bones and stuff from the deer. And I don't know if that one had caught it there, throw the rock, or if he ran it towards another one, or what was going on there. But I mean, it was pretty wild.
Yeah,
I think I think they might stun the prey or kill the prey with the rock, and they break a leg, or maybe even smack him up against a tree or something. Is what that one looked like. But I found other ones. I found a huge rock, like a big rock, the last time I went up Stinky Holler. I mean, there's no place for it to roll down from. and it's sitting right there in the trail, and the moss was even on the bottom side of it, and it had green plants underneath it, and there's no holes or anything around it to where it could, like a bear or something might have moved it out of the ground. But I think the big boy was up there last weekend, and I found a couple bedding areas up there too, and they were just huge bedding areas. One of them was 6 foot long, and that was just like the trunk of its body is what it looked like.
Where do you think they sleep over the winter then? Do you think they sleep outdoors, or are they going back to cave systems, or are they not clever enough maybe to use proper shelters, you know, or understand the...
Yeah, as far as building them a house or something, I don't think they really do anything like that. I mean, they, you know, some of the structures that people find, like the teepees and stuff, there's just not enough there to really keep the elements off of them. But if there's like rock houses or rock ledges or like caves or whatever, I think that they would definitely take advantage of that. One year, a couple years ago, I'd walked up where my hunting shack is and came down over where there's a rock cave back in there. And I came down there and just smelled something. It was just horrible smelling. And I found tracks where I think as I was coming down the ridge line, it had ran over the hill. There was berries up on the ledge, like it had stored berries up on the ledge. It was pretty crazy. But I think they had been back in that rock cliff. Because it wasn't, you know, it wasn't a great big one. It was just big enough for something pretty good size, something to crawl back in to keep warm and out of the weather.
It's
yeah, I just
interesting.
I just want to address something right quick with everybody that's watching this. We call this researchers' reports. There's a reason we call it researchers' report. This is not about evidence. This is not about anyone coming here to try to find anyone's evidence. Researchers like Rick are kind enough to come on here and report on what's going on in his area. That's it. If they happen to bring some evidence with them, great. But that's not what this show's about. Plain and simple. And we're not going to have any animosity, any feuding going on between anyone coming into the chat and our guest. Simple as that. Not going to say anything about it again. This is not the time and place for that. Rick Wells is kind enough to come on this show and tell us what's going on in his area right now. And hopefully, maybe we can get a little bit more information out of him, like maybe what his plans in the future are. We'll see. If you guys have questions, get them ready. Put them in caps. We'll present them to Rick. Thank you. All right.
Well, I want to talk about the...
That's out there.
It's savage, isn't it? You know, I just don't get it. Just grow up.
I think it's quite comical that, you know, people get all upset about stuff like that. And, you know, whatever people want to do and they say it's Bigfoot, you know, that's fine with me. As long as it's not like filming your screen in a ball cap, throwing rocks and saying it's Bigfoot, then, you know, if you want to call structures every little pile of twigs you find in the forest Bigfoot, I mean, we don't know that they're doing that. I mean, as far as I know, nobody's ever filmed a Bigfoot actually making a structure. Or maybe people have seen them, but that's just I'm more.
No, you're right.
Evidence.
It's interesting to think about that. If you see some of these strange things, and some of them are hard to explain without Sasquatch. At least to me, they are. You know, but you're absolutely right. You know, there's no real picture that anyone has seen, or maybe people have seen them doing this. I don't know. They haven't videoed it where I've seen it. To call that evidence, but it is interesting. You know, I think we put it in our shows. It's interesting to think about people that have seen these things on their property. They know they're around, and then all of a sudden there's these crazy things that you really don't see anywhere else, you know, in the woods, except for maybe around these people's place. Strange tree bends and, you know, 400-pound logs with the root ball at the top. It's just, some of it's hard to explain otherwise. So to me, it is kind of interesting to look at, and I don't think it's wrong to suggest that it's a possibility, but you're absolutely right. We don't know. We really don't know. But to me,
I find it because, and I think that they do a lot of it. And I try to look for weaves and stuff like that in it, or Bigfoot hair in it, or, you know, unknown hair in it, or tracks in it. You know, something to support that. Hey, if Booger was here, and this is what he's done. I mean, trees will grow and entangle themselves, but whenever you see manipulated by something's hands, someone or something's hands, that's weaved together to where this tree will stay tied around this other tree. I find it interesting.
Yeah, we found some of that there. I filmed it and I tried to explain it, and it had to have been done. It was either done by somebody or something.
Right.
Something with a thumb.
Yeah. I was going to talk about the prints and the oil, the substance, whatever is on their skin. That could be. Did you say you'd washed it off a couple of times? The window, what was it? And the print was still there.
Yeah, it stayed on their camper for a while, and I know it stayed on Jay's pull along for a long time. It's still faintly on the container out there I keep the dog food in, and that's
I
been
saw
a few
that.
years back now. So
Big old fingerprints.
Yeah, I just wonder what that oil's about. I know with like, say, rats, for example, they have a lot that keeps their fur clean. You know, there's a reason why some animals express more oils, grease than others. I don't know. I just find it interesting that it's kind of got this substance, and it should be leaving it around everywhere. You know, there must be, you know, can't even think of the word now. It must be on everything, whatever it's touching.
Well, I think it's kind of like we do. You know, your skin will get oily. Like at the end of the day, you've been working or whatever, sweating and stuff, you'll get oily. And we bathe regularly. Or a lot of people do. And but they, you know, I don't guess they use soap, or they probably don't bathe a whole lot. I mean, I'm sure they get in water and stuff with the scrub. I mean, I really don't see that. They could do it, but I mean, some of them that I've smelled, it don't seem like they bathed a whole lot. But that oil, yeah, I think it would be helpful to repel water, like a duck's got a gland. And I'm not saying that boogers have glands, but you know, it's known in the animal kingdom that some of them have glands for waterproofing. Minks and ducks and, you know, different types of critters all have these glands that they'll sit there and rub and put on their fur to help shed water.
Mm. Well, what about the smell? Are you getting a lot of smell when you see him now, or nothing? Because I think they might have a gland that gives that smell off.
I've smelled several different things, and I think they're highly aware. They're not stupid. I think they're highly aware of wind direction, and they're, you know, they hunt for a living. That's how they get their food. So, you know, just like if I was to go out hunting, I would try to keep the wind in my face, whatever way I'm hunting, whatever way I think the deer are coming in, so my scent don't blow down toward the deer. And I think that they're smart enough to know something like that. And the only time I've ever smelled them is whenever the wind happens to switch directions. And I've smelled anything from like rotten meat to like an old wet, smelly dog to one time in the middle of winter, like January or February, I smelled lemons. And where that came from, I have no idea, except for we got like a little bush. I call it a dwarf lemon bush. There's an actual term for it, but I'm not a biologist and or botanist. And it smells just like a lemon. They get little green berries on that turn red in the fall. And Papa used to tell me that they was good for keeping the bugs off of you, which does work on mosquitoes. So I've had all kinds of
going back to what you were saying about the oil, you know, we've seen it time and time again. It's pretty easy to assume that they produce some kind of oil either on their hands or their skin, because there's just so much sign of it left over. Here's an interesting question, and this might be a good segue for a little segment here. This is from Kevin Clemens. Has anyone heard the laughter they can make? Why don't you give us a little, tell us that little story, Rick, about the laughter. You actually got a video, right?
Yeah, I've got it recorded. Them laughing. I'm doing that on a live feed. Some of the best things I have is on live feed, and it's fun because you're live at the time and everybody's hearing all this stuff happen at the time. But for whatever reason, whenever it uploads fully to YouTube, the sound quality is degraded and the live video feed's not as good. So a lot of times I'll stick a recorder out to record while I'm live too, just to have it. And this is why. one night we were sitting out here live feeding, and I heard a big commotion clatter out here in one of my buildings, and something took off running. You could actually hear, if you listen careful enough, you can hear the footsteps and something laughing about it. And I walked out there, and they had thrown this stuffed toy and knocked over some buckets out here in the building. And I guess they thought it was funny. But yeah, it took off running, laughing about it. And this toy I found it up here at the graveyard, and I brought it down here. It disappeared. I found it again up on my property, up in a big, huge tree, and I cut me a big, long pole and poked it out there, brought it back down here, and it got took again. I found it a few times, brought it back. It's like a game of capture the flag or something. But it went for a long time, and I couldn't find it. I didn't know where they put it. So I guess they got tired of saying, well, he's not going to find it there. And they came and threw it and thought it funny that they done it and knocked some stuff over and like, boy, you're busted now, and took off running laughing. But
yeah, you can hear him laughing. I think that's I just thought that was a pretty good question there for that. Brian McSturdy had a question.
But also on the Sierra Sounds, the guy that brought down the Sierra Sounds, Scott Nelson, he said at one point where the male and the female seemed to be having some sort of argument or conversation, he picked up that one of them had kind of made themselves laugh at something they'd said. And if you listen to it, it kind of sounds like that. Almost like it tells a joke and laughs at its own joke or something, you know.
Yeah, I definitely think they've got a sense of humor. I think that's why they mess with people a lot. Like they'll slap the houses and like slap out houses and throw rocks just to get a kick out of it. Kind of like the Native Americans did whenever they say counting coup, just to pull one over on you to see what your reaction would be. I mean, they definitely got a sense of humor, I think.
Yeah, I hear a lot of that. Did you have a question there? Sorry, off. I
don't know if y'all can hear me
Brian?
or not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. They haven't tapped on my windows or anything since I put up the game cameras. And that's, anybody that's got them around their property or like around their house and you don't want them, like I've got game cameras at the barn, game camera out here on my dog food, one on the window that they used to always tap on. You put up a game camera and it stops. It all stops. I don't know why, but I kind of think I know why, but somehow they know about game cameras, and I don't know if they can sense the infrared, which I've kind of thought for a while, or if it's just where they watch hunters put it up. They watch hunters put a pile of corn in front of them, a deer come in, then the deer gets shot, and then maybe they relate that to the game cameras.
Yeah,
but for some reason, they don't like game cameras.
No.
And so I use it to my advantage, so they don't peek in the window and tap on the window, or eat my dog food, or eat my chickens, or whatever.
It's a good deterrent for things like that.
Yeah, I haven't seen a teddy bear in a long time. I've seen another person pop up. I haven't seen that thing in a long time. It's hard to say where that's at now. I bet your house, Angie.
Just see if there's any more questions coming in. There we go. You've been a bit affected by
when we were there, Rick.
Right, have you ever been affected by infrasound or the EMF, whatever people think it is?
Yeah, the infrasound, and I've actually got that recorded too. At least what I think the infrasound is, like a low droning sound, and it's happened here a few times, and it's made it's weird. It's made my camera turn off, my phone turn off. It's made my FLIR turn off before. But the first time it ever happened, I was standing down there about where I was filming on the FLIR the last time, and it sounded like an airplane, like one of them low droning airplanes flying in the sky. And I kept listening, but it was coming from the hillside, and that didn't affect me at all. But the next time it happened was right out here too, and it kind of, I don't know, I hear it affects people differently, and it kind of did make me dizzy where I wanted to sit down and a little bit nauseous to my stomach. And what I think it is maybe a young booger that doesn't have it down pat that done that. But I think there's something to the whole infrasound deal.
So exactly what is this infrasound I keep hearing about? Can anyone explain it?
Infrasound is a low frequency, lower than human hearing range, is what they classify as infrasound. It's not very powerful. Usually, if you have like elephants do infrasound, but what they do is they purr like a cat, and it's for long range communication. But the infrasound is mixed in with another sound that's audible to humans. This is just elephants, the way they do it. And because it's not that powerful, they use that purr to get it to go for miles and miles. So yeah, it's just a lot of animals do it. I'm not sure if there are any animals that can do just infrasound. Maybe they can. I don't know. I know tigers also do it, but like I said, it's mixed in with other audible sounds that you can't hear, and it can make you sick. It can make you really disoriented, and I think that's the whole purpose for it. Aside from maybe elephants using it for communication, I'm pretty sure that predators that can do it use it for disorienting prey, possibly. That's a theory anyway, but infrasound is a real thing. My thing is this: what I think affects people more than infrasound is EMF. EMF can have a lot more drastic effects on you, on your physical, your body, making confused, sick at your stomach, bad headaches. It can cause heart palpitations. So I tend to lean a little bit more toward EMF being a factor with Bigfoot. However they do it, I don't know if it's done. It's just something that I believe, which you guys don't hear a whole lot from me. But it just makes more sense to me that EMF affects people more than infrasound, because the infrasound's got to be pretty powerful for it to really have an effect on you. Hope that's a good explanation. I'm not trying to take over the show here with my remedial knowledge on simple stuff.
Yeah, I've never heard of that EMF deal. Turkeys use infrasound.
So have you done
Turkeys,
any?
really?
Oh,
Yeah, quite a few birds use it actually.
right. I didn't know that.
Well, for those that don't know or just coming in, that's Nutsy, the flying squirrel. Rick's cats got a hold of him one day and brought him up, and Rick's working. He said he was working on a tractor, and he nursed him back to health, and now he's got a brand new buddy. So I wish I had a flying squirrel.
It's pretty cool.
I think you're the envy of a lot of people now, Rick, that you have a pet flying squirrel.
Starting to jump around and stuff real
He's
good
gonna
now.
make it.
What do you think about, if we're talking about sounds, what do you think about mind speak or telepathy?
I don't know. I've never had that happen, and a lot of people that I've talked to that I've known for a while, and I trust these people, and that they have them on their property and stuff, have never had it happen. And I'm not saying that it don't happen, but it don't happen here. At least not to me. Maybe folks are different. Maybe some people was more sensitive to it, but I've never had it happen.
Yeah, it could be a frequency thing. Maybe some people are more in tuned with that. I don't know. Have you done any gifting?
I haven't. No, not really. Not in a while. I have before. That's what I started out doing, a bunch of stuff like that. And I'd had a gifting stump, and yeah, I haven't really messed with that in a while, because it's just hard to tell if a squirrel or something else has done anything to it. And my boogers tend to bring me what they want to trade as dead critters, and I think they do that for my dog Bailey. They'll bring in deer pieces or a whole deer carcass and put them up in the tree or in the driveway or whatever. They've actually put a flying squirrel on one of my game cameras before, dead.
Right.
And, yeah, I've tried all the gifting, and it's very interesting, but it takes a lot of dedication. Like Snow White Bigfoot is the ultimate at doing that. I love what she does. It's great to watch.
That's dedication. That is.
She's very good. She's very good at documenting. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's my favorite YouTuber right there on the Bigfoot. She's just so good at it, documents everything, and she's all the time coming up with different ideas of it's a form of communication with them. It's amazing. It's simply amazing.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Absolutely is. It's indirect form of communication. And anybody that doesn't know or hasn't heard of Snow White Bigfoot, she's on YouTube, and you can go and see. She's got a whole series of diaries that are really good. That I would suggest anybody go and check out. That's Snow White Bigfoot on YouTube.
Yeah, the interactions are
all right.
Now I've never seen orbs. And like Brown Dwarf, I like watching Brown Dwarf too, and he gets them on video all the time. And you know, there's something to it. I've never seen them here. And again, I don't know if that's just in certain areas or what. And you know, with Bigfoot, you can't put them all in a box. What works here might not work somewhere else, and what my clan does might not be the same to say what Angie's clan does. I've been up to her place before, and you know, there's a lot of similar things, but there's different little quirks to them. And I put it like this: like my family celebrates Christmas and your family celebrates Christmas, but the way we go about it might be different. We might have different traditions than you do. Like, I don't know, say stockings, or we eat turkey and you eat ham. You know, they do a lot of things the same. There's differences in each clan too, I
think. Intentions. Do you think they can pick up people's intentions?
I think that they watch a lot and they study how a person acts and behaves. And I think that like whenever they started here, smacking the outhouses and the houses and getting a reaction just to see what I would do, to see if they wanted to stick around and mess with me some more. And you know, I'm not out to do them any harm. And like whenever it first started happening here, I'd have the spotlight out, and I'd even bring out a shotgun or whatever, and I'd even let off a couple of shots because I thought it was people messing with me. You know, I never did aim it. I shot it up in the air or whatever. But I told them, you know, wanted them to quit, and I guess they get a kick out of it. And then I kind of caught on to what was going on, and they just started doing things like moving stuff around on me, and it's all become a big game, and I just kind of played along the game with them. Once I figured out what was going on, it wasn't humans messing with me; it was something else. I just started playing the game back with them, and
they carried on doing it. Someone's a newbie. Oh, it's not that one. No, sorry. I'm a newbie to all this. Are they dangerous? Possibly, yeah. Probably, if you push them, I would say.
Yeah, I don't trust. Like I said earlier, I don't trust them no more than I would like you would a black bear or something like that. You use respect. Now that's not to say that there might be a rogue one, and like if there's a rogue one that's being maybe gifted a lot of sweets and stuff, and his teeth are all rotted out, or it's just of old age, you know, humans are an easy target. We're a lot easier to case than say a deer would be. For one of them, or maybe one with a broke leg, or I mean, who knows? One could just have a bad day. I don't trust them, and you should always be aware of your surroundings, even if you're just around people or wherever. But yeah, just use respect. I don't think the majority of them. I don't think are out to. They want to stay hidden. I don't think they're out to hurt us. If they was to, if someone goes missing or something, what's the first thing that happens? Where that person went missing, the area is flooded with searchers. There's all kinds of humans in the woods, and again, I think they're smart enough to know that there's going to be a reaction to their action.
Yeah,
right. I've got a particular stance on this myself, and I kind of view them just over 12 years of flipping rocks and looking under as much about the Sasquatch subject as I can, and just assuming these creatures are like people, sentient, self-aware, free will. You have to think that whatever happens throughout their life, just like us, is what forms, their personality and their attitude and toward things. I don't think it's beneficial for them to come into contact with us in any way. But I do think that there's a line you can cross. And if you do, they're going to let you know. But like I said, that's just how I feel about it.
Why wouldn't it like Stinky Hole in other places? And sometimes I think I've got too close to maybe the the little ones or whatever, and trees will start getting pushed down or rocks will start climbing by you or whatever. And then I just stop and I back out of there because to me, I think they'll let you know if you're getting a bit too close.
Yeah. What do you think they are, Rick?
I have no idea.
No idea.
No idea. They're one of God's creations.
Good answer. That's a good answer. The short answer.
Yeah. Well, it's not an easy question, is it? To be honest.
No, I mean, I've got theories and stuff, but who knows? I mean, you know, you look at some of the DNA studies they did, like Melba Ketchum, and then you look at her DNA study, and then L.A. Marzulli and them down in Peru, the long skull critters they had down there, and they're very similar, and I find that interesting. And I keep, you know, I keep my mind open to different possibilities of what they are. But, you know, we don't know what they are. I'm sure some people know what they are, like the government or elites or whatever, but they're not they're not wanting to share that information with us.
What do you think it's about, this, if it is a cover-up? You know, it probably is, but what do you think it's about? What could it be about? People said the logging thing. I'm not sure I'm going for that. I think there's so much.
That might be part of it. You know, it might be because it kind of throws out the evolutionary theory. It might be because other types of monies. Maybe it's just, I don't know what it's about. They don't want us to know for some reason, and usually it does boil down to money in this world, like it or not. That's usually what everything's about in this world.
Yeah.
Brent Thomas asked if I got timed out. No, my internet. I lost the tip to my booster for my camper, and it's on the road somewhere. They forgot to pull it down when they moved my camper, so my internet's bad. I'm gonna fix that before the next show, so I apologize.
The ones on your farm seem more human or ape-like.
I've never really got a good look at them to tell you exactly what. I mean, I would love to have a good look at them. They're extremely fast and they stay hidden so well. And I've had them cross the trail in front of me, and the best description of that one I had, it was a dark blur on all fours, and it looked like it had a big hump on its back, stretched out. And I mean, I couldn't tell you what they look like exactly around here. Now, they say in these parts it's a wood booger, and I've looked up a picture that a lot of people agree that's what a wood booger looks like. And it just looks like a cross between like a chimpanzee and a human, basically.
Shaggy says it because it might be the original species for this planet, not us, maybe. Who knows? It's
Well, I'm gonna do this since my internet is so bad. I hope you guys can really hear me. I'm just gonna make a little bit of an exit, and Daniela, I'm gonna let you finish this up. I just want to say we do have the expedition coming up, Florida. There's 13 of us going down there this spring. It's gonna be an epic venture. I want to thank everybody that's put in to support us on that. You can go to the GoFundMe or the PayPal, either one. But like I said before, whether we get another dollar or not, we are doing this. If I have to put all the rest of the money in myself, we are going to do this. I just want to thank you guys, the ones that already have. You have no idea how much it means to us that you support us the way you do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ease out. Don't forget to go subscribe to Wood Booger Farm. And don't forget tonight, 7:00 p.m. Pacific time. That's 9:00 Central. Paranormal Portal. Don and Brent, 2-hour show. I'm ducking out. Thank you, Daniela. I'm sorry.
okay.
Rick, thanks for coming on, buddy.
All right, bub.
We'll see.
Appreciate it. Hey, my check's in the mail, Kerry.
Okay, Rick. Thanks, man.
This question's been asked a couple of times. How high is holler above your house?
How high is what?
Is holler? Do we know what that means? Anyone?
How high is the holler? The holler is actually the part in between the two mountains. How high is the holler above my house? I don't know. The holler is actually like what some people would call a valley or a gorge or something.
Okay. We'll get him to elaborate a little bit more, if you will, Cans Quatch.
How high is the ridge lines here? I'm in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, so they're not real big. I'm not sure of the elevation. I'd have to look it up to give you a definite fact. But we're in the foothills. It's not, these mountains aren't as big as you would if you went further east. The higher the mountains get, like in West Virginia, and the Blue Ridge over in Virginia and all that. But we're in the foothills, but they're not as high, but we got a lot of them.
Do you think gifting draws them in, encourages them to come around? I think for Snow White Bigfoot, that's what's happened, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. They would come, and like I said, there was stuff that only they could have. It wasn't a squirrel that brought me a dead deer or brought a feather in or whatever. And yeah, I think they make a game out of it, and I think that's probably the younger ones that's doing it. That curious or whatever, but. Yeah, I think you can have interactions with them. I would advise people not to gift them food, just because they could start seeing you as a food source, and we don't know exactly what their diet should be. A lot of our human foods are good for us, so they're definitely not good for a wild creature. Like I would definitely advise not sugar or chocolates or anything like that. If you're going to give food, do something natural that they could actually get out in nature, like apples or what have you.
I mean, I think they must have a pretty good diet. They have access to all the roots, the herbs, the berries, the best things really anyone would want. Have you ever gotten a good look at any movement, the way they run or walk, or the kind of? A lot of people say that they see them gliding, don't they? Like that, they seem to just smoothly.
Yeah, the one that
when they're running.
Like I said, the way I describe it was bottle rocket fast. I mean, it was bam across that trail really, really fast. And I've had a couple other brief glimpses of them at them, and they're quick, and they can get behind something very quick. So, to see one walking in the open field or whatever, I've never seen anything like that to describe the movement. But yeah, I've heard that they like a gliding, kind of like someone riding a bicycle. The top portion stays pretty steady while the feet are moving along or whatever.
A little message from Jay there. Sorry, Rick, I didn't get to join you all this weekend. See you next month. That's from Jay Ward.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He might come down for the rifle season, deer.
Okay.
Yeah, he couldn't make it to our camp out that we had this weekend.
Have you had any of your farm animals taken?
Yeah, there's been a few critters go missing around here. Lately, it's been cats. And it's interesting because I had cats this last time that they were around that have went missing, and the time before whenever they were around, some cats went missing. And I'm down to one cat now. There was like, what, 1, 2, 3, 4. There was 4 big cats, and they just had another litter of little cats. So yeah, I'm down to one cat now. So the cats have been missing. Whenever I first got my chickens, one of them had took off around the barn, like just making a racket. And as soon as I heard that racket, I was in the barn, and I came out of the barn and went around the way it went. And all that I saw were feathers. And this was a fat chicken. It was a big meat chicken, one you raise for meat. So maybe a hawk could have took off with it or something, but I looked around the barn, looked for a trail for feathers or blood, and it just disappeared. And one time someone dropped off some lowlife dropped off some little stray pups up this holler. And that happened on a Friday, and I'm off on Fridays and Saturdays, and I got to work on Sundays. So Sunday I went into work, and I put the pups in a kennel out here, like a metal cage kennel out here, and came back, and the kennel door, both the latches have been opened on it, and the pups were gone. So I think that they might have got them. Yeah, there's been a few critters go miss, and that's why I've got the game cameras up, and there's at least a safety zone, I guess, for the critters to get to.
Yeah.
I had a duck go missing here recently, but I've never seen any sign that the boogers have actually done it, and I can't really blame it on them because there's other things that take your critters out in the out in the country.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it, just to pinpoint it? Like you said before, we don't know exactly, but you can
Yeah.
help to get the stuff. Shane, I don't know if Shane's just joined the chat, but have you had rocks thrown? We've talked about that.
Yeah,
This
someone asked about the gray cat. I had a cat that had all the time it was up underneath your feet. And one morning I'd come out and I could hear it meowing and I didn't know where it was. Well, it was over in my garbage can with the lid on the garbage can. And I think the boogers had stuck the cat in the garbage can because it was messing around their feet. Because that cat was around for quite a bit before he went. And he was an old tomcat, so he might have went, looking for a girlfriend or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, they stuck one of my cats in the garbage can.
That's crazy, isn't it? There's some rock throwing on the video you've just put out, isn't there? The flare one.
Yeah, there's rocks being thrown in that one. I've got all kinds of videos of them throwing rocks. A lot of times I'll go up stinky hard and they'll throw rocks. I've been riding my ATV and they actually hit me with a rock one time, but it ricocheted off part of my ATV and came down and hit my knee. They've thrown a rock in the back of the ATV. They're very good at rock throwing. I think they've got pretty good aim. I think that's how they make their living, stunning their prey or killing their prey outright. And I think they're just throwing them around me to mess with me.
This is from Hiker Dave. How you doing, Dave? Are you tired of them coming around? Do you enjoy the interaction?
Oh, I enjoy it. I mean, it's so far it's been pretty entertaining. I mean, it makes you it's very interesting, and I probably won't ever get tired of it. But it's kind of like I'm used to it, I guess I should say.
Is there an end game with it? Do you know where you're going with it, or you just
I want to have a good sighting. I want to be able to sit down and tell you exactly what its face looks like and describe its facial features, and then give you an answer to what I think it might be. And yeah, something like that. I mean, I'd rather have that than get one on video. Which, if I could get one on video, that would be great. And whenever I first started doing this, I came into it naive, thinking, well, people's going around the woods chasing. They're coming to my house. This ought to be easy to film on. Yeah, they proved me wrong.
Yeah.
I've got a couple of videos that it's possible that something's in it, and a couple of them is, I know for sure it's definitely something in there, but it's not enough to, prove anything to any skeptic. Nobody's got one like that, except for maybe the Patterson or Freeman footage and some of these well-known footages.
Yeah, there's not a lot, is there, really? I mean, in terms of stuff we can say is probably a Bigfoot, like Patty.
Right. Yeah. I mean, some of it can be explained as pareidolia, and I try not to say, hey, this is a Bigfoot in the video. And if I do film something, I'll go and try to recreate it, try to find out, if there's footprints there and stuff like that, and try to get silences and try to debunk it.
Yeah. I think for me, the pareidolia stuff is, I will believe someone's encounter. I'd rather listen to someone's encounter than try and be told that there's a Sasquatch face amongst the trees and the leaves. I'm not bothered. It doesn't interest me to.
It doesn't me either. And people say
that way, right. And also those that go back maybe and look back later and think they can find something. For me, if you were there and you felt it, that's when you should be looking, rather than just trolling back through your videos and seeing if you can see something. Because there's no guarantee that there was something there, and there's can be a lot of time wasting, I think, in this subject, in this field, and we can also lose sight of what's going on. Have you ever tried to call them in?
Oh yeah, I used to call and get responses from them all the time, and now they know it's me. So unless I come up with a new call, they know it's me down here doing stuff. But that sometimes works. If they're in the area, then they'll respond to it. Like I can do a call sometimes and wait about 30 minutes, and if they're within range of hearing that, then they know I'm out here. And if they feel like coming by the play or whatever, then they'll come down and we'll get some action. And I'll try to go live or whatever and try to capture what we can capture. I mean, you never know what's going to happen with them. I'll probably do some calls tonight.
So what's your next sort of plan? Have you got a plan? Have you got some kind of, were you going to get some more equipment, did you say? Or
I just got a new camera, and I got it before I went to the gorge. I'm going to try to get a drone next. I've been going through the drones. The one I had my eye on was that kind of fell through because they ran out of them or whatever. But I'm going to have to research more. It takes me a long time to make up my mind on something.
yeah, well, I'm sure we'll keep following and waiting and seeing what you come up with. We are coming up to the end of the hour, so I don't know if anyone else has got any more questions. I just want to say thank you to Kathy Buchanan and Pat Noble who've put in some money tonight to the GoFundMe. So we all really appreciate that. So I don't think there's any more questions. Thanks a lot, Rick. I'm going to put your channel in the description below so people can go and check out your videos and your latest one of the thing popping up. And on Wednesday we've got Brent Dill coming in, and so can't remember he's on Saturday, but join us on Wednesday, and we'll see you all then. Thanks a lot, Rick.
All right, and appreciate everybody joining in the chat. And yeah, I think it's a good thing what Kerry and them's going down south to try to do it. I mean, without trying to do things and trying to, I mean, they're putting a lot on the line and throwing a lot of money out there, and you know, that's not a vacation. They're going in the swamp to camp for 10 days or whatever, and that's, you know, a pretty rough spot. And God bless him. I mean, I think, you know, we need to try different things, and he's got some really good guys going down there with him, and I think they've got a pretty good shot at it. So if anybody wants to help them out, you can help them out, be part of it. Yeah.
I mean, I think there are other people doing good stuff, you know, and would never put down anyone's research. You know, people can only do things to their own ability and capacity, you know, depending on where they're at. But I think we have come to a brick wall, and that's why we've got to just do something totally different. And, you know, I've got a good feeling about it.
Right. I mean, you can't damn no one for trying. I mean, as long as they're trying, that's good. It's just the ones that's out faking and you know, maybe telling tall tales or whatever, then, you know, that's not very good for it. And
no.
But the ones that's out there trying, and, you know, I've met Kerry. Kerry's a good, honest guy. If he's got something on video and it's, you know, it's pretty decent, then I'm not going to think the wool pulled over my eyes. Like some people I won't even watch anymore because I know it's not too honest.
Yeah, and I think whatever you're in, there's always going to be some haters. There's always going to be someone who's quite happy to knock you down because, you know, they can't even get up off their own chair and do anything. They're just opinions at the end of the day. But I think, you know, we've got a great community around us. There is some really good people and supportive people, and they actually outshine all the negatives. And it's just the way life is, isn't it? It's there whether you're doing something or not. So
yeah, the Bigfoot community reflects the world as a whole very well. I mean, you're always going to have some haters, and you're going to have some people that, you know, not so good, but the majority of folks are good people. Yeah.
Well, thanks again, Rick, and thanks everyone in the chat for keeping it calm in there tonight with all the comments coming in. And we'll see you all on Wednesday. So good night, everyone.
Good night. God bless.